But first, sorry about that. But first, we are Waza Multimedia. So right now, what project we're offering to you is Waza Music. So Waza Music is a distribution platform that is African based. So it is for African creatives, all countries in Africa inclusive. So one of the benefits that we offer as Waza Music currently is the 80/20 revenue split, which we think is one of the best revenue splits so far, which we're offering to our artists. You get 80%, we get 20%. You can upload your music on our platform, and then you sell it between $1 to $5. So we want you to know who we are, because we're not just here to educate you on so many other topics in the industry, but we also want you to be part of our community, to be part of the benefits that Waza is giving in the music industry so far. So, my name is Vanessa Sandra Kaima. I am the social media manager at Waza Multimedia, and I'll be your host for today. But I am not alone. I have Brigitta, which is our operations manager, Tokuka Dewera, which is our media. And then, of course, we have our lovely guest, Pokani Kaunda, aka King of Diamonds, the queen herself. So today's gonna be good, because who better to teach us about navigating the music industry as a self-producing artist than a self-producing artist herself? Okay, so Pokani Kaunda, welcome to today's Edu series.
Thank you. It feels amazing to be here in the hot seat today. That was a great introduction. I loved it.
You're welcome. You're in the hot seat today. Please get ready to be cooked, because we're bringing the heat. So bringing the heat for you.
I'm ready. I'm ready. Let's get it.
Let's get it. Okay. So let's start with the basics. Self-producing artist. The same way I would tell you a tomato is a vegetable and you tell me it's a fruit, is the same way there's different definitions for it. But I want to hear from you, from your POV, who or what is a self-producing artist in the music industry?
I would define it as an independent artist, basically. Someone who is you don't have a manager, you don't have management, you don't have anybody but yourself who's pushing the music thing. That's a self-producing artist. It can also be somebody that is in full control of their creative process. Maybe they write their own songs and they produce their own beats, they mix, they master. So somebody that is in the front seat of their music career and their creative exploits, I'd say. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So I think I jumped a bit, so we're gonna have to go back just a teeny little bit. We want to get to know who our guest is. I mean, we
That's it.
we know you from so many different POVs, but from your own POV, like, who is Kim of Diamonds? What's her journey been like, for her to be where she's at today? What's that been like?
It's been a crazy journey. I never really started out thinking I wanted to do music. I didn't see this as something that could be a career, something that was this serious. It's literally taken me on a journey, to be honest, where I've discovered so much about my abilities. I remember the first time I came back. Okay, where do I start? Born in Malawi, grew up in Zimbabwe, moved to the UK, came back to Malawi for university. And that's when my brother, one day he came home randomly. He said, "Hey, let's go to the studio." I said, "To do what?" He said, "I wrote a song. I think, let's just go. We'll figure it out." So we went to the studio. This was Lawi studio. And it was not my first time being in the studio. I'd been in the studio in the UK, maybe twice only. So when I came back to Malawi, my brother took me to my first studio session and he wrote the song. It was in Chichewa. Oh, my show was broken, still is broken. But back then, can you imagine how bad it was? But, I recorded the song, and from there, we recorded a few more songs. And so for like 2, 3 years, my brother managed me. We produced about 2 albums, one called Freedom, one called Revolution. That was my beginning as an artist in the Malawian music industry. And then from there, I think growth happened, and then he got busy. And so I had to take the front row seat in my music career. I was like, okay, I took an interest, I suppose, because the entire time he was managing me, he was teaching me about how to write my own press releases, how to conduct myself in interviews. And he always used to tell me, you're more than just an artist, you bring so much more to the table. So you always have to take that angle, regardless of where you go to. So he really taught me how to be more in charge of my work and to not allow other people to define it for me. So when I finally, that was in 2018, when I decided to do a Kim of Diamonds album. So before that, my artist name was just Kim. And then I thought to myself, it's quite ambiguous. You don't know if it's an Asian man, you don't know if it's a man or a female. Kim, it could be anybody. So coincidentally, when my brother was managing me, when he was setting up my social media pages, he asked me what name I wanted to go by. And we somehow came to Kim of Diamonds because my parents named me after Kimberley, the city of diamonds. I'll try to make this short, but you asked. So they named me after a diamond mine city in South Africa. It's called Kimberley with an E before the Y. So we decided to go with Kim of Diamonds to, signify to say, there's a lot of gems, a lot of talents, a lot of things yet to be discovered in me. So we went with Kim of Diamonds. And every time I was out in public, people would always say, are you Kim of Diamonds, from the Instagram videos I used to post of me singing? So I decided to make an album out of that. And that is how Kim of Diamonds came to be. Yeah. It's been crazy, but it's here we are.
And I must say,
I
Kim
hope
of Diamonds.
that's enough.
It is more than enough, actually. That was so insightful. And I must say, I think Kim of Diamonds is one of the most unique artist names I've heard. And that's why I think most of the times when I refer to you, I say the Kim of Diamonds, because it just gives that. But okay, your brother managed you for a couple of years and then he got busy. What made you say, or was it at that point that you decided maybe you wanted to be a self-producing artist? Like, why didn't you say, okay, maybe let me find someone else to manage me, or like someone else to do my thing for you? Like, why did you decide, okay, my brother's busy, from now on, I'm gonna do this thing on my own?
That's such a great question. I don't think I've ever thought about it. Um, it was the moment where I've always loved writing songs. I think of myself as a songwriter, which is why I don't like to put myself in a box when it comes to genres. I like to write to whatever I want to, because that pushes my boundaries, my understanding of songwriting, all of those things. So in 2018, when I made the Kim of Diamonds album, it's now on Voisa, by the way. I've uploaded all the tracks coincidentally on the Voisa platform. Um, Before I go off topic. So, what made me want to take charge was the fact that I enjoyed the process of going to the studio, and I also paid for all my studio sessions for the first time. Before that, my brother was covering the cost, because that's the role of a manager, to cover the cost or whatever it is that you need to be able to make your music happen. So when he had to do other things, I had to take that responsibility and say, if I really want to do this, then I have to be able to back it up with money. I gotta be able to show up for it. I just took an interest to say, what can I do? What can I create? How far can I take it? I think that was a question I asked myself. How far can I take this music thing? And it's been a roller coaster ever since. I took an interest in music business, and then I took an interest in music production, and what else, to improve my songwriting. So the past couple of years have been about learning those things. Yeah.
Okay, okay. You've talked about learning a few things as a self-producing artist, right? What would you say maybe are the things that right now you're continuously learning or continuously developing within yourself, like to better yourself as a self-producing artist?
I'm always signing up for music business trainings or workshops. If it's free, I'm in. Afrobeats for girls, um, anything to do with music business for Academy for Africa, I'm in. It's just the curiosity to understand music as more than just a hobby, as more than just even something that makes other people happy. It's intellectual property. So being able to be in spaces where people are teaching more about it allows me to grow as a person, as a creative, but also as someone who's interested in building their own business in the industry. So that's one of the things I keep doing. I also like to watch interviews of other artists that I like, that I admire. How are they presenting themselves? I go on their social media. I'm just curious. That's how I keep on developing myself. And I like to push myself. I like to work with different artists if they pique my interest. I love working with other artists. Like for example, I worked with Crazy G last year. My pen game has elevated ever since. Working with artists who force you to step it up, that's also something that really helps me to keep growing. And being unafraid to ask for help, asking for assistance. I ask my producer friends, does my mix sound good? Is it bad? What can I change? Give me feedback. Yeah, I'm that kind of person. So you have to be curious, you have to be teachable. You also have to be confident enough to say, I know enough to make something happen. Yeah.
Okay, lovely. Bridget, was that a hand?
Yeah, I know there are going to be questions at the end, but if I end up waiting, I'll forget. Old age, man.
Go ahead.
Kim has mentioned a lot about her brother. Maybe there'll be people here who'd be interested to know who's Kim's brother, man. Maybe he can start managing me because I'm actually thinking of going into. So if I learn from him, maybe I can be as good as Kim. And she also mentioned that there are artists that inspire her. I'd want to hear like two and like a single point of why, how and why do those people inspire you to pursue this journey of being a self-producing artist.
Okay, we could start with the first one. My brother's Manyanda, and he's a rapper, one of the best rappers that I know personally. And so yeah, he took me under his wing and instilled in me a strong sense of identity in my talent, which I now see that I love to carry into other people. What he did for me is what I also want to do for other people, kind of situation. He really inspired me by believing in me. So I also find it easy to believe in other people when I see a certain drive, the certain traits that I see. So that's that. That's about my brother. And then the other question, what was the other question, Brigida? Two of my artists that I admire, Beyonce. Beyonce, if you hate Beyonce, I will question your ability to focus in life, honestly. Because yeah, like she is incredible as a artist who is also self-producing, you can say. She broke away from her group and everyone was just like, man, you're gonna fail. No one believed in her. They're like, this girl, she thinks she's all of that. Can you imagine? And she went ahead and she defied the odds. I admire that about her. And I think she really believes in herself. That's why she's been able to achieve what she has. The second artist that I admire, who is that? I don't know. Let's see. Let me name someone local, right? Crispy Malawi. I love what he has done with his brand and his journey and how he understands his fans. Yeah, he's really got his head in the game. So yeah, that's the answer to your questions.
Yeah, it does. Thank you very much. I didn't want to impose because I've seen you post about a lot about Beyonce, and I'm like, I think whether you believe it or not, you guys have sort of like the same work ethic, the same spirit, the go-getter spirit, like the breaking boundaries kind of thing. And I really, really love it. I wish
I love
everybody could.
it.
would like emulate that thing, that fire. You have the fire. I'm pretty sure people who came to the showcase can actually attest to that.
Girl, thank you. Oh my God, thank you.
All right, moving on. Thank you, Bridget. That was actually a very good question because I was about to say, is Beyonce your favorite artist? But for everyone that's here, I'm sure someone somewhere sat down to say, I want to be a self producing artist, but told a friend about it, told an acquaintance about it, and they scared them with some sort of misconception or something that is really not entirely the truth about what a self producing artist is. So, from you, Kim, I'd like to understand, like, when you first started to say, okay, I'm going to be a self producing artist, was there anything, like people trying to talk you out of it, or like people, telling you some sort of misconception, like maybe just give us two misconceptions that, people threw at you to say, no, you're not going to excel on this, or maybe pull out of this, that sort of thing.
I would say the first one. The first one is, people always say you don't have to do everything. You can hire a producer, you can hire someone else to do the what, and it's like I hear it and I get it, but in this day and age, that costs money. So if you're a self-producing artist, you're someone who is in a position where you have to make serious financial decisions. If you are going to be spending 500,000 per. Sorry, so someone mute the microphone. Or is it mine echoing? 1 2 1 2.
I can hear
Yeah,
you.
so you can hear me. I feel like I'm on echo.
Yeah, for some moments there was an echo, but I can
Okay,
probably hear you now.
all right then. So yeah, I was saying, basically you have to, as a self-producing artist, yes, it's difficult. It's not even a misconception, it's reality. It's a crazy, difficult, expensive journey. That's why you have to take an interest in music business, so that it's more than just you loving what you're doing. It's you protecting your art. So you have to approach music as not just this thing you love. It's literally your intellectual property. And that is the most important thing in your life, your IP. And that is why some of the world's wealthiest countries are wealthy from intellectual property. So who are we to neglect, the ability to understand how it works and how it can be utilized and how it can be exploited, which is why we need to build systems in Malawi through ourselves, this generation, that allow us to monetize properly. That's why we have Waza. That's like a perfect example of us saying we are going to take up space, we're going to provide a solution, we don't want to complain about it. So for me, I hope I haven't gone off topic, but for me, it's like you have to just basically, Vanessa, please, am I still on the right track or not?
Kind of slipped off a little bit, but I'm gonna let you finish that one and then we can move on.
Bring me back, bring me back. What was your question?
Okay, so misconceptions. So my
Yeah.
question was the two misconceptions, that people scared you, like tried to scare you out of being a self-producing artist.
Right. And then I said, it's in reality, it's a difficult, crazy, expensive journey. So you just have to be prepared for it to make the right decisions. And it's also about having a plan and being intentional to say, once I'm doing this, it means I have to invest in myself. I have to get a studio. I have to buy equipment. I have to learn music production. I have to learn how to mix, even like on a basic level. You don't have to learn everything per se on a deep, deep level. You can learn how to produce yourself, so that when you have inspiration at 2 a.m. in the morning, you can just record yourself. If you want to hear what you sound like, you can just record and you can listen back. You can hear things you can improve. I personally love recording demos just so I can listen back and see what lyrics I can change, what melodies I can change. And that is part of the process that I enjoy. It's so therapeutic. I can't imagine doing anything else. So, yeah, the misconceptions are true. You just have to be ready to invest in yourself and take an interest in music business, because the more you understand it, the more you can make money. And the more you can do the thing that you love, which is music. Yeah.
All right, thank you. One of the things that we've been teaching recently as Waza Multimedia is treat your music career like a business, right? So hence music business, like same thing you're talking about. So one thing I want to understand is you're doing this thing on your own. You know, as an artist, you have to handle the creatives that's coming up with your songs, songwriting, you know, picking a beat, putting all these things together. And then at the same time, you have to be your management. What would you say maybe is the best way that you go about creating, you know, that balance so that your roles are not colliding, but like, you know, they're assisting and like going on the same path?
These days, what I'm trying to do is Mondays. I dedicate my week into halves. I like to spend 4 hours per, let's say, per project. If I work it on Voisa on a Monday, I will dedicate 4 hours, and then I will switch over to whatever other work that I'm doing for another 4 hours. So I just schedule my workload in a way that allows me to still be able to make music and to still be able to achieve my other goals. Because, like I said, I feel like I'm valuing my time more and my creative work more. So a big part of that is being organized and being able to manage your time and your resources well. Yeah.
Okay, okay, that sounds good. Sounds good. I saw you recently did a collab with Toast on your amazing song. How you do that? Ooh, how you do that? Guys, forgive my vocals. I am not an artist. But I want to know, like, how does that happen? You know, when you're an artist with a management team, you know, they look out for you, you know, they're out there scouting artists to approach, to do collaborations, you know. But as a self-producing artist, how do you approach, you know, an artist that you want to collab with? Do you approach them? You know, what happens for you to come up with a collab with other artists?
It goes both ways. Sometimes the artists approach me with a beat, and if we're friends, we can always exchange collaborations. But if it's like someone that I don't know, but they want a collaboration with me, I charge. I'm at 500,000 kwacha only, so it goes both ways. In this case, Toast hit me up. He wanted me on his track, and it was actually the other track. So when I got there, he said, "Oh, can you also do this one?" And he had the melody. He also had the words. He just said, "I want you to do how you do that." I was like, "Okay, cool." And that's how that happened. It was fast, actually. So the collaborations and the features, they go both ways. Sometimes if I really like the producer's beat, I'll do it for free. If I really like the artist, their energy, their sound, I also do it for free. But it depends. It really depends on what kind of relationship I have with the people approaching me for collaborations, or the people that I'm approaching as well. Yeah.
Okay. So, okay, someone's raising a hand, but I think let me just go on with this. Just if it's a question, just keep it so that, you know, with time we go on through all the questions, and then I'm gonna have a section where everyone gets to ask questions at the very end. Okay. So basically it's about approaching, right? You can approach them or they can approach you. So if you were thinking of being a self-producing artist here, have that in mind, that you just don't have to wait for someone to approach you, because I think maybe that was also one of the most difficult things for, you know, people to decide on becoming a self-producing artist. Like, who's gonna do these things for me, or like, how am I going to do it? But it's a thing of doing it yourself, just putting in the work of, okay, I want to work with this artist, let me approach them. Thank you so much for that one. Okay. Now, my next question is gonna lean more on the biggest difference, right? So for me, I would say from the definition that you gave at the beginning, the biggest difference from a self-producing artist and one that has a management team is basically the management team. But I don't know, I feel like there's something more. like I can't grasp it, but then I just feel like, there's more differences than I can tell. So I want to hear from you, like, you being a self-producing artist now, as well as someone who did have a manager, like what would you say maybe the biggest differences are as well, apart from the management team itself?
Okay, some of the differences in being under management and being an independent artist. Being an artist means you're in full control of your journey. You can decide whatever sound you want, whatever look that you want. You can wake up today and say, I'm going to release my song, whatever. You get to make all the decisions. But if you're under management, you're committing to their direction of your career, which can be a good thing and it can also be a bad thing. If it can be a good thing if you tell them exactly what you want, if you know who you are, if you're intentional and you understand the deal that you're getting into. I feel like at the moment a lot of people are quick to get into management deals without understanding what they're signing, what they're giving away. So in some cases where the management is spending a lot of money, because the good thing about having a management is they will foot the bill. You want lovely music videos, you want to have photo shoots, you want interviews, you want the brand deals. They can handle all of that for you, and you can just be an artist. And that, my friends, is like an amazing deal, to be honest, because it means you don't have to do the admin work that you have to do as an independent artist. It means you can just concentrate on the music. And most of the times that comes with an 80-20 split, or 80-30, or 60-40. You get in the smaller section, the management getting the bigger section because they're putting in money into your career. So for some people, that is a sweet deal. And honestly, depending on how you play it, it can really bring you some great results if you know what you're doing, if you know about investments, about finances, about all of that. But as a self producing artist, the good thing about being on this journey is it's your journey. You are in charge of it. You can do anything at any point, but you also need a plan, to be honest. You need a plan. So I'll give you an example of Russ. I don't know if you guys have heard of this artist called Russ. Is an American independent artist, and he's making a crazy amount of money from being an independent artist. He has a distribution and a publishing deal that allows him to make the most out of his music catalog. And for me, that is very inspiring because at the end of the day, the artist should never be broke. If there were no artists, there was no one making music, the world would be a quiet place. If there was no creative works, like there would be nothing to look forward to. So we really have to value artists. And so the artist should be getting a bigger pie, a bigger piece of the pie by virtue of being a creator of their intellectual property. So yeah, there is a massive difference, but there is no good or bad. It depends on what is your plan. What do you want to do? And what route is best for you. You can always take your deals to a lawyer to make sure it's a good one. You can always consult people who you know have a good head on their shoulders, and they can tell you to get into a management deal or they can tell you to be solo. At the end of the day, it's up to you. Yeah.
Okay, that sounds good. And I think the more we get to learn about, what goes into being a self-producing artist, it doesn't seem so intimidating, because I think for a lot of people it can seem a bit intimidating that it's gonna be a one-man team. I'm gonna have to write the songs, work on the production, work on all this, work on all that. But it's good that we're learning, and it's good that we're learning from someone with as much experience as you. And I think it's kind of giving some of us who want to be self-producing artists a roadmap to say, okay, if I wanna handle this, this is the best way I can go about it, and so on and so forth. Okay. So my next question is gonna be twofold. The first part is going to be, so I'm just going to ask it in bits so that it's easier for you to answer it as well. So the first part of the question is going to be, what are like some of the like specific tools? Earlier you talked about the ways in which you're creating a balance between management as well as being a creative itself. But then now I want to like hear from you, like, are there any tools or like softwares that you're using at the moment to say, okay, as a self-producing artist, I feel like maybe this software is easier for me to schedule things, or maybe this software is easier for me to make this, or this software is easier for me to manage this. What are those softwares, for those of us who would like to access them and like use them as well? Get into it with us on that one.
Okay, so I use Google Calendar. I think everyone has Gmail. So I use Google Calendar to schedule meetings, pretty much everything related to virtual conversations and workshops. And then in terms of making the music, I'm using Ableton Live 11. That's the software that I got introduced to in 2020, I think 2020, somewhere around 2019, 2020. So ever since, I've just really enjoyed using Ableton Live 11. I know a lot of people have their own qualms about it, but I find it very easy for someone who just wants to record. I just recently got into mixing and mastering, so I recommend it for anyone who's looking for an easy to learn software. I am also learning I would like to learn Cubase, Fruity Loops, and Studio One, because you never know, when someone needs you to use a foreign software. So I feel like I have to be ready to use any one of those softwares. So that's what I'm using. Nothing crazy. The rest of the times, I pretty much put my thoughts into documents, or I journal them. I write them in notebooks. So I usually write out, like if I have an idea, I'll break it down into steps, and I'll break down those steps into what needs to be done by when. That's my general plan. It doesn't always go to plan, but when it does, it's usually amazing. So that's what I use as tools. Nothing fancy.
Well, ma'am, that sounds kind of fancy to me. I don't know. But okay,
No.
those names sound so fancy. Like, okay, maybe we're just not familiar, but okay, okay, good one. Um, you answered both of those questions in one question, so I think on that one we're good. So moving on. Excuse me, as a self-producing artist, you're doing it yourself, right? So we know that maybe with management, when it comes to doing marketing deals, advertisements, they have their ways of doing it, and they have the criteria of choosing maybe platforms to work with, pages to work with. I want to know from you specifically, and like the experience that you have. Let's say you want to market a certain song, or you want to advertise a certain song that's coming out. What platforms are you looking at? What is the criteria that you're going to say, okay, if I want to choose this platform, I think it's going to meet my needs, and like what goes on into that to say, okay, these are the platforms that I've chosen to market my song, or to market whatever project that I'm having right now, and they help you meet your needs.
Okay. Well, marketing is such an expensive journey. I feel like that's the make or break part for all the artists. You might be very talented, but if your marketing budget is not up to par, which is why people who have management teams or management companies under supporting their careers, their marketing tends to cover a lot more ground, be it locally, regionally, or globally. So as a self-producing artist, I wouldn't even begin to compare my budget to people with like a management team. So what I do is I utilize my social media at the moment. That's pretty much what I do. On my Instagram, on my Facebook, I realized that that's the freest platform that I have to really put my music out there. But when I can and where I can, I utilize platforms like Mikosi, but for me, sometimes I'm like, with the message that I'm trying to, like, I don't feel like it aligns with my brand if I promote with Mikosi, sometimes because I'm looking at some of the other content that they post. So as a self-producing artist, I think about those things because I'm serving a niche audience. I need to think much more deeply about the kind of audience that I really want to reach. What are they watching? Are they really paying attention to certain pages, or are they elsewhere? And I kind of feel like the kind of audience I want to reach are just chilling on TikTok or Instagram or, somewhere else. So I try to find a balance between the two, to be honest. In the case of you being under management, obviously they're gonna have you doing, you know, all those pages here, or some pages in South Africa, some pages in other countries. Yeah, but also for me, sometimes I'll call my friends who work at the radio station, TV station, and say, "Hey, I got a brand new song coming. Could I please do an interview?" Something like that. And they'll be like, "Okay, cool, come through." So sometimes it's good for you to have different types of networks, different types of people in different industries, so you can really get your music out there or your brand out there. Yeah.
Okay, so networking, and for sure, when you're working with other brands that are not your social media pages, make sure they're aligning with your goals as an artist. I think this is also something similar that you talked about at our media presence training at our showcase last Saturday. As an artist, you have to your image has to be your first priority. How are you presenting yourself to the public? From your dressing, from the way you speak, from the brands you interact with, all that. So same thing goes for this marketing thing. When you want people to market your brand for you, make sure that they align with you, and it's not just a matter of they have a lot of followers, or they have that huge reach as well. I think that's something that we should also be looking into as artists. Okay, so moving on. um when you're starting out, different journeys, you wished maybe somehow, somewhere you could have done something differently. I think we all hit that point at a certain time, or at a certain point in time, like when we're handling different things. So I want to hear from you. Like, are there specific things that you say, okay, if Kim of Diamonds were to start her journey again as a self-producing artist, these are maybe the three things or two things that she would do differently because of this reason?
I would start producing, making beats, mixing and mastering much, much earlier. The funny thing is, at 16, I took a college course in music technology because I was like, you know what? I can sing. I think I can do this music tech. So I went to college for music tech. I failed. I got an F. Totally got an F. It's not what I expected, but I quit obviously after that. But what I learned is still Alberton that I'm using now. Can you imagine? I failed the class, but I still learned a few bits and bobs from it that now make sense. But I wish I had taken it seriously at a younger age. The production, the music business, understanding publishing, sync as well, gaming. I'd get into gaming. Right now, I'm trying to get into gaming, but I'm looking at how much it costs. Guys, gaming gear is insanely expensive. But that's definitely something that I wish I was getting into much earlier. Yeah.
Okay, that really sounds all good. Thank you so much once again. Um, I'm sure when you were coming to this interview, when you were preparing, you thought to yourself, okay, so I definitely want to share these points, these points, these points, these points. And I'm sure I've covered some of the points in the questions, but I'm sure there's some certain things that I didn't cover, or I didn't ask, or I didn't go through. And I just want to give you this opportunity to say, share with us those points, those points that you cooked up and you said, okay, I want to share this to some of the people that want to be self-produced artists. So yeah, I feel like I'm gonna give you that chance Bree, right after I give Bree a chance to speak. But yeah,
Remember, parents, I wanted to ask a question as well.
yeah. So okay. Do you want us to start with the questions, or do because I was thinking maybe you finish off those points, and
Let me
then
finish up the points
yeah,
then.
you
Yeah.
finish up those points, and then we go ahead like with the questions, and then everyone goes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Words to the wise. Let's see. Um, you have to be in the front seat of your creative career. You have to take an interest in the music business because it concerns your intellectual property. It's more than a hobby. It's more than the thing that you love to do. This is how you can become a billionaire. Literally, we are that generation that we have that capacity. So I want us together to take it seriously, to be able to support platforms like Waza, any other platforms and events and people who are really trying to create real money and real value for African and Malawian artists. We need to be at the forefront of that movement. We need to take an interest. We need to take up space. Don't just be an artist. Find something that you can do in terms of a business, whether it's the publishing, whether it's the what, find a niche, a business that you can start that can support the growth that we need to see in our industry. Yeah, let's take the questions. Paranza, we can start with you. Then we can do Brigida and then C and then Samuel.
How are we starting with? Sorry.
Go ahead, Brigida. I think Paranza's
Okay.
occupied.
Cool, cool, cool. I have quite. I'll just ask two, I think, so that other people can also go. But otherwise, I love that Vanessa put you on the hot seat, and the hunter has officially been hunted, and somehow I get satisfaction from that. I'm sorry, guys. Anyway, if there's something that I also wanted to touch on was to I've always been intrigued. Did your MBA journey sort of also push you towards becoming a self-producing artist? Was there something like that in those, in that journey when you went for the music, whatever thing in Nigeria? Did it kind of like influence your decision to become a self-producing artist?
Absolutely. Listen, in 2020, when I finished uni, finding a job has always been hard. And I had this opportunity where someone was looking for a community manager for a 6-week songwriting camp. And they hired me. And that was my entry point. I absolutely got to see how the creative process in a business environment would look like. That was my first time being in that environment. And I really enjoyed it to the point where I was like, in order for me to do this job well, I need to learn about what is really going on here. Why are we doing what we're doing? What is the whole point? So I took an interest, looked up an African music business course because I didn't want to learn the Western version of it because it's very different. I wanted something close to home. That's when I came across the Music Business Academy for Africa. And I saved up to, take that course only for the payment to not go through. I said, oh my God, my village people, they're trying to win, you know? And luckily, I qualified for a scholarship. I had applied for a scholarship as well. They give scholarships if you're female. So I happened to get in there. Oh my goodness, I was so overjoyed to the point where I made it a point to attend all the classes, which were happening on Saturday and Sunday. So being in the middle of people who are as interested as I am, who are better, who are more, just drove something in me to say, oh my gosh, there's a massive world out here that I haven't even begun to know. So that journey helped me. So my commitment, dedication, missing weekends, um, I managed to graduate in the top 10. So the top 10 got funded to go to Nigeria for 1 week, everything paid for. I said, oh my days, this is it. This is the life. So we went there, went to Trace Africa, we went to Google, we went to YouTube. Where else did we go? To Maven's Records. When we go to Maven's Records, guys, I nearly fainted. I said, we're playing Pada back home. We're all playing Pada at home. So being there just opened my eyes to see they're not just about the music in the bag. They're really, really investing and building businesses that are like Nico Insurance, but for music, which is very, very serious. So yeah, to answer your question, that definitely threw me into the pathway of really wanting to become a self-producing artist that understands music business. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Because I was like, I think there was really content there, and a lot of artists in West Africa, like Nigeria, Ghana, and all of that, most of them are like into the self producing thing. That's it. So I really wanted to see if that had any influence on you. And hey, I see Audrey here. You heard about the scholarship thing and everything. Maybe you guys can try it out and see where all of us girls here should try it out. Kim is here. I think she can give us some pointers. And the other thing that I wanted to say is I can't believe Kim is like one person, because where does she get the time to like, have you seen how many things Kim is doing at the moment? There is a saint in the Catholic Church that would be in multiple places at once during his last lifetime. His name is Padre Pio. I think Kim sort of like, because yo, she's at Waza, she's at Miss Malawi, she's doing a CS thing, she's doing a yo. How do you juggle everything? How do you allocate time to each and everything? You're 100% present. No man. Can you teach somebody to be like that? Because I'd be killing money to teach people how to be fully committed to everything that they're doing. It's so inspiring, man.
Thank you so much. I'm actually trying to build a team so that I can relax more, you know. But I enjoy pushing those limits of myself because that is how I personally learn, by placing myself in environments that are uncomfortable, that are new, that are different, that are forcing me to think, forcing me to feel, forcing me to ask, how can I provide solutions, you know? So there's that. There's also my curiosity to how things work. How does a pageant work? How does this event work? How does a creative business in this department work? I feel like the same way people wake up every day to go to the office and they're an accountant, is the same way that these projects are to me. I'm just going to the office. It's just another day at the office for me. You know, one day maybe we're shooting a music video, the next day maybe we're gonna be in meetings, the other day I'm a creative director, the next day I'm a model, I'm shooting my own video. I like it. It's like variety that forces me to want to get better. And these days, I have to say, I'm thinking much more deeply about my art and how much deeper I can take it. So it's very interesting to be in these different environments because I learn so much and I'm forced to evolve as well as a person. It's not always comfortable, but it's very necessary. Yeah.
Guys, I'm done. I think there were other people that had questions. V, are you still here?
Yes, I am still here. I think next we can go with, oh, Parans is here actually. Parans, you can go ahead with your question and then we move on to C and then Sam.
Yeah, hello everybody. Hey, this is more enjoyable, I wanted to take Kim back to the point of marketing side. Like there is this other thing which people say like artist is trying to protect their persona. So people still also advise that a brand grows faster with the contents which oppose the artist's persona. So, what would be your advice to upcoming artists who want to market themselves using scandals and the stories to promote their songs?
Don't do it, man. Like, for me, it's not worth it if you really believe in yourself. If you really believe in the quality of what you're bringing to the table, why do you need a scandal to maximize or to spotlight to what you're bringing to the table? I feel like you have to be an artist that is more about being true to their journey than about the numbers and the likes. You're going to go much further. It's not the fastest route, but hey, you're going to get there. And if you're super intentional, you're hardworking, and you're also not just focusing on the music, but also juggling to make sure you can feed money into your music, then you can win in a much bigger way than people who are having to do scandals. So I would advise you to focus on your art, focus on building a brand you can be proud of. When you pass on your legacy to the next generation in your family, whoever, can they be proud? Would you be proud if you were 100 years old and you were looking at your journey If you would be, then go ahead, be scandalous. Go ahead and be scandalous. But if you want so much more for yourself, then I'd say you can keep it clean. You can do it your way, all the way.
Yeah, I say this song because there's this one artist, Diamond Platinum. Like every time he's that hottest artist from Tanzania, because every time he has got a very like a hot topic about him. Maybe he's breaking up with this one. He's having a this. He has done this. He has got a new chain. He has done this, and he mostly it helps him because he's that one artist who never like gets caught when it comes to pushing music. So trying to balance, like, I don't know.
Do you want to be like Diamond Platinums? I mean, you have to look at yourselves. You're in different brand directions and stories. If you want your story to be like his, it wouldn't be the same. He's doing that because that's his PR strategy. That's him building his bad boy image some more, cheating, blah blah blah. Again, it's branding, right? So if you want that to be part of your persona, then it can work in your favor, but it can also backfire. So you have to ask yourself, what picture are you trying to paint as Paranza? Do you want to build, bad boy reputation, or you want to do your own thing your way? It's up to you.
I think at the showcase also Kim spoke about something like that. The best way to be in the industry is just to be yourself. Carry your image. Be proud of what you represent, you stand up against for. Because the moment that you try copying someone, people will always be like, "Oh, he's a diamond wannabe." I don't think that's a good picture to paint. So just be yourself, man.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I was also going to say the same thing, that let other artists inspire you, but don't necessarily want to become them. Build your own story, and let their story be an inspiration as a starting point for yours. Okay, so parents, does that answer your question, and can we move on?
Yeah, actually, it was a question. I'm happy that it has been answered well because yeah, yeah. And on the other hand, let me like say big up for this program because the way I followed from the beginning is like Kim, you aspire, you inspire before you expire. So what would be my advice to artists would be like let's make content which will be like which will continue, like let's have that shine. Let's not start something which will not finish, so we better have that full package to make sure that we are pushing. We may create a scandal of today, we trend, but after that scandal we have no like plan B or plan C. So you find like someone trended once trended, but they never kept that fame. So protecting the trending is also another big deal.
Yes, exactly. You get it. Okay. So we have two more hands to raise. So C, we're gonna start with you, and then Sam, we're gonna finish with you.
All right. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, you are.
All right. First of all, shout out to you, Kim. I've been a fan of your channel, like, but from the living for your girly days, I had that in my laptop when I was at Bunda, So I've been following your journey, and it's very interesting because you, as you put it in your words, you're a niche artist, right? So, looking at the industry that we're in, what are some of the challenges for a niche artist to push that you think we should look out for? And then what are some of the opportunities out there to like push our, because I'm sure the music that you make has got a lot of audience also elsewhere. How do you go about navigating through that audience that maybe you may not physically or see it right there, but then I'm sure that there are a lot of people who really like fuck with your music like that elsewhere. They're just not maybe in one space. How would you go about that? And then in terms of creating fan base, like locally, and ways of raising to still maintain the sustainability in the industry. Maybe you can shed more light on that as well. I don't know if it's a lot, but you can see
Hey,
what to tackle.
it's a lot. Let me see what I can remember.
Yeah.
Let me see what I can remember. Um, Let me just say it's a very tricky journey because um where to even start to find people who love the kind of music that I make. I'm not making music for somebody who wants to jump around, like, oh, I'm a piano. Not that I have anything against that. I actually love the genre, but it's just like the kind of music I make is for you if you're chilling, for sometimes if you just want to feel good. I feel like these days I'm more provocative in terms of my content, but it's still on a chill vibe. So where do I find people who are down to do that? It's now a matter of me experimenting, if I'm being honest. I cannot tell you that I know where these people are. I'm literally looking for those people. So it's going to look more like me putting myself out there. I can perform at coffee shops. I can perform at certain audiences, certain restaurants that maybe there's like a diverse group of people. I don't want to say I don't make music for Malawians. I do make music for Malawians. It's just those types of Malawians also love to be at specific places. I haven't found those places yet. So it's a matter of me putting myself out there, if I'm being honest. And then for the international audiences out there, right now, the best that I'm trying to do is put out more visualizers, more videos, and to collaborate as well with people from other countries, the countries where I feel like they're listening to my music. When I look on the analytics side of things, I can see that, okay, there's more artists who are listening to me in such and such a place. How do I find myself collaborating with those people? I've collaborated this year with an artist from Ghana, and this was through the MBA for Africa, by the way. And I've also collaborated with a Nigerian artist called McCoy, again through the MBA for Africa. So for me, as an artist that's navigating being local and global and regional, I find that the best way I can reach my audience is by going through the music business, through networking. It's very unconventional. But I feel like it's the best way that I can do it. When people see that I bring this quality of excellence or whatever in other endeavors, by the time they listen to my music, they're ready to work with me. They're like, they believe in me. They're willing to put the money behind me. So that's the route I've decided to take in terms of placing myself in niche audiences, providing services in other areas, be it consultation, creative direction, developing relationships with people who make decisions actually is also how I'm trying to reach niche audiences. Yeah. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, it does.
Okay, great. Thank you for that insightful question, Axel, and for an insightful answer as well, Kim. Last question. I think our last hand up is from Sam. So, Sam, you're going to ask your question, and then from there, today we are privileged, guys. We are so privileged to have the man himself, the man behind Vaza Multimedia, Joel Fixon Gozo. He joined in a bit late, but we are so happy to have you here. So, Sam, once you ask your question, Joe is going to speak to us and then, just give us a few details. So, Sam, go ahead with your question. Sam, can you hear me? Hmm.
Maybe the challenge might be how he can animate the audio. So
Yeah, I
he just
think
has to click
yeah,
somewhere.
if you're speaking, you are muted. If you're trying to speak, you're muted. Maybe try to unmute your mic. Okay. If he
So if
happens
it's
to
the
hear
great,
us,
you can click next to where he raised his hand, like on the left side.
Sam, can you hear us? Okay, I think it's fine. I think Joel can speak to us now. If Sam happens to be able to unmute himself or like hear us, maybe network issues, he can go lastly. But for now, Joel, you have the floor.
Hey guys, I'm so sorry. I joined a little bit late, but I I don't want to get crushed the good things that are happening here. I just have a few things that I wanted to share with the community and also like give a few updates of what you can expect moving forward. I think as you might have already seen in the WhatsApp group and also like on our socials, we are releasing Vaza music. I should say Vaza 2.0, which is going to do a few things. And I'm going to share my screen so I can show you some of the things that are going to happen. So you get to know. So let's say I'm going to start from the place when because I know some of you are already part of the platform and you already signed up. So I want to make it short and not waste so much of the time. Right now, what you do is for you to upload music, you are going to, once you register, the first thing that you see is like just like a basic user account where you're able to register and then you see everything else. And then it does prompt you if you want to upgrade your account to an artist account. So you are able to go there and then upgrade, and then it asks you for a few questions here and there, and then you have access to the artist controls, right? So for now, the central place for you to upload music is through the same app, which is like the Voice dashboard. You go to the studio, and this is where you're able to upload music. And as you can see, I have like a bunch of test stuff. So you're able to create songs, you're able to track analytics. Of course, analytics are not part of here yet, but this is the old dashboard. What's coming now is the thing that I've been sharing, or at least you might have seen. This is the second thing that we're doing. So basically, what we are going to be releasing is we're taking the Vaza Studio, right? The Vaza Studio that you see from the main website into its own separate application. So how you're going to access it is going to be like studio.voisa.com. Of course, right now it's not live, but when you go there, you're going to see this brand new look, which has got a lot of features, a lot of like, advanced features that you're going to get access to. So you should be able to upload music, right? And I want to do like a mini demo on this. So of course, I'm not going to upload the music just yet because I don't have any on my computer. But when you go to upload music right now, you're going to see, I think I saw someone also as a poet here. I'm yet to activate that. But you're going to see now that we are allowing you to upload music, beats, video and film and podcast. Some of these things, especially like beats, we need you to sign up some contracts, some contractual stuff. That's going to happen, later down the road. But when you start uploading music, you have options to upload a single and an album, obviously. So singles can be collaborative. They can be, they can be like just by yourself. But what's so interesting right now is that if I go on the content, you notice that, for example, I'm testing here, you have like different features that are available to you. On the release management, I think I should pick something that is not released. For example, I don't know if I have anything that's not released. Draft, this one. So on the release management, you have access to these kind of features. So you have like the publishing, which you can do it now. You can schedule. I think this is already available, but now we're also adding set up pre-save, which is it's going to automatically notify the user, like, okay, click here on the music app, click here so that you'll be notified when the album drops, right? So pre-save campaigns are coming. You can set up a pre-order for the content that you are selling, for example. Pre-orders have got two things. You have an option of having like a pre-order price. So if, for example, you're going to be selling your album at 10,000 kwacha on the day that it drops, but you want people to actually access it like, I mean, pay for it up front. You say, okay, the pre-order price is like 5,000. So you can set that up right now. And when the album drops, the people that actually already paid for 5K, they're gonna get it. And the people who are gonna be buying on the day, they're gonna be buying it at the normal price, which is at 10K. So the pre-save price, I mean the pre-order price is specifically for people who are gonna get it early. And of course, you can combine pre-save and pre-orders. But the other thing that you can do, and I think this is a feature that is also being most requested, is this early access. So what early access is that what it does is it's you want to drop an album or like a single, but you don't want it to be available to everybody else. You just want a specific set of people who can access it. So let's say you want to release your album in the next 3 weeks, but you don't want it to be publicly available. You want it to only be private to specific people that you can invite, right? So what's going to happen is you're going to set up the email address, and then they'll get an invitation. Say, okay, for example, C Trees has invited you to like purchase his album, right? And then on the other side, of which I could also do a demo, but I think we're gonna run out of time. We're gonna have these sessions, as time goes by as well. But if you set up an early access, people, or like the people that you are inviting, have the option of going above the price that you set up, right? So for example, I want my album to sell for $1. Like, I'm inviting 50 artists or 50 people that I know that are not even part of Waza to come in and say, hey, can you buy my single for $1? When the person comes, they feel like, oh, I like Citrus music and I'll pay for more for it. It's like selling for $1. I can pay $20. So they'll be able to put up $20 in there, and then they'll be able to, you'll be able to get the money, and then they'll also get access to the album. And one more thing that I can show you is on the geo restrictions. I don't know if this is like locally on my computer, so it's not live yet, but on these restrictions, on the settings, you have the option of restricting, for example, where your music can be seen. So you have worldwide, because sometimes it can be an issue of copyright or whatever. Like, I don't know, it could be anything. I think some of you already know, like, some of the songs that might only be on YouTube, not on other platforms because of copyright. So you have the option of like distributing your music worldwide, or you can select a few countries, or you can just exclude certain countries. So that is also available for you. Okay, so as you can see, you also get emails that are telling you, I think this is one feature that you should know about, fingerprinting. Every time that you have an album, like a song that has been uploaded on Voisa, for example, I'm C-Trace, I upload a song, and for whatever reason, Kim also uploads the same song, then we're going to notify C-Trace, and we're also going to notify Kim that this track matches 99% or 80% with the song that C-Trace produced on our platform. Please contact us, and we're going to flag that song automatically. So this is to help, copyrights and all of those kind of things. So these are things that are coming to the platform. And another thing that is very interesting is we are going to start helping you to publish your music directly with Kosoma. That's coming, later down this year. So you can submit your music to publishers. So as you can see, we have Malawi and other countries like South Africa and all of those things. So you should be able to get royalties from there, and also sync licensing and all of those. So this is just one part of the features that we are building, and they're going to be coming. And yeah, I mean, maybe one more thing I can show you is on the analytics, which right now there's nothing on this because this is just like a draft and there's nothing in it. But what's the crazy part about these advanced analytics is that they're going to help you to understand how your music is doing. And I don't know if other platforms are doing it like the way we are doing it, but every time that there's someone who's playing your music, you will be able to see things like, what was the completion rate, right? How many times did the person, I mean, of course, like that's like a very simple thing, but at what point did the person skip your music? right? How many times did the person complete the song? And those milestones, we're going to show you like what is the average listening session? Where did the person come from when they're listening to your music? Was it something like, as you can see, skip rate? So this will help you like at what point in during the day are people listening to your music, right? Because I think those are very important. And then we are using AI under the hood to generate moods, radios and all those things for the user. So this is coming. And if you haven't signed up yet on Voisa or you haven't started uploading your music, please start doing that right now, because we are automatically going to migrate whatever we have into this new platform. So it'll be just seamless and you'll just be able to log in and continue from where you left. And yeah, we'll talk more about these things. You'll see me more in the next coming few sessions, like coming in and showing you about like features that we are working on. But yeah, I hope if anyone else has questions, please let me know.
Thank you so, so much for that, Joel. And to everyone, if you are not on WhatsApp Music already, what are you waiting for? Because as WhatsApp Multimedia, we are doing our utmost best to bring you absolutely the best, when it comes to everything. Just with this presentation itself, as well, you can see that we're not just offering you what we already have, we're offering you so much more. We're taking time to better our product so much more so that it gives you more as well as our artists, as our creatives. Thank you so, so much to everyone that joined today's session on how to navigate the music industry as a self producing artist. Thank you so much to our lovely guests, for answering our questions in such an insightful manner, for giving us all the knowledge, free of charge, basically, for teaching us. It was such a good learning experience. And I'm sure to everyone that was, second guessing becoming a self producing artist, Kim definitely gave us the roadmap to say, okay, I want to be a self producing artist. This is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to do it. And this is what I'm going to avoid. We are Vaza Multimedia, and it's always a pleasure, hosting you guys. And we look forward to another edu series where we get to teach you more knowledgeable stuff about the music industry that no one is teaching you. And just a reminder, if you're not on Voza Multimedia, sign up now, Sign up on Voza Multimedia. If you need help with signing up, if you have an issue, please feel free to contact us using our social media pages at Voza Multimedia on all social media platforms, and we'll be there to assist you. But other than that, thank you so much to everyone that attended. Thank you to the team for being here as well. And that is it from us at Voza Multimedia. Have a lovely night.